Howdy, y'all. Let's get the pony motor going on Whiskers. So we got spark on this thing, and we just checked it again. Still sparking. The plugs are sparking. But we have, I don't know if the timing's off or something. We're going to squirt gasoline into each cylinder and pull it through and see if that makes a difference. Okay. We just want to see if this thing's going to pop. So we don't have the gas turned on to the pony motor yet. It's not popping.
Nope. I think it's out of time.
I think it is too. Yeah. It's not popping. I have a sneaking suspicion that the magneto timing is off because we put gas directly in the cylinders. We know we got spark and we got nothing. So, this all just seems to point to the magneto to me. Dad thinks it's the carburetor.
Gas just ran out of mine.
Yeah, there's gas in there. It should pop.
Gas? Open your petcock, see if you get anything out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A lot.
Shall we try it again?
Maybe we had it flooded. Try it again.
Let me pull it again.
This American Bosch upgraded mag, there's no window back here. There's no port in the back of this intake manifold on the pony motor. So the way to check, there's actually a very, very hard to see mark right there that says mag. I doubt that you're going to be able to see it on the camera, but it's on the back of the flywheel. There's a mag, there's a top center, and then there's an exhaust. So I am going to pull this plug right here and see if, hold my finger over it and see if that mag comes up when it fires, when I got compression. And there's mag, there's where it should fire.
Could you feel it push?
Yeah. Still closed. Dad called the previous owner, and he always started it with a belt on a grinder wheel, which is a very common practice with these, especially when you have issues with your shoulder and age.
Who are you talking about?
I'm wondering if it can be off one tooth and still run. It'll just make it hard to start. It's possible this thing's been out of time slightly, and with this new American Bosch style magneto and no window to make sure that your teeth are exactly engaged correctly, it's very possible to do that. That magneto is a field upgrade. This originally had the Eisman like lefty over here, just like the fuel tower, just like the intake. A lot of the field upgrades were done on this machine. I'm going to look and see if I can find an old V-belt. A V-belt that's long enough to get out here, and then I'll look for a pulley and see if I can farmer something up on our grinder. Something in this D4 parts store, actually. Oh yeah, we got a whole electric motor. This is off of Buster. That's how they were starting Buster. That might work. Maybe I'll make an adapter out of this. On the main bearing cap, there should be a mark that the pony motor flywheel marks line up with for timing. We've got one off of another machine. We're trying to find that mark.
This is your crank main bearing housing. And when it's on there, it's over here.
I figured this out.
What is it?
The answer was obvious the whole time. It was right there in front of us. The whole thing is a giant pointer. It's right here at the top.
Wow. You think?
Yeah.
You sure?
I don't know. Probably. It looks like it should be.
I would think there would be a line or a V cut.
Yeah, but you can't see it when it's back there behind this mess. I just went out to the D4 parts store and I looked at Festus's pony motor, and it has more of a point up at the top on that flange. So
you think this is what they're talking about up here?
I do. I really do.
Oh, there, I can just barely see it.
So it is straight up.
Yeah.
Right there at the bottom, at the very bottom of the frame, that's the top of it.
You can see the TC, and the mag is further up on top.
All right, and
that
valve looks closed.
It is.
Yeah.
I felt it was pushing, compressing on my thumb.
I don't think the magneto's out of time then.
I don't either. See the mag line?
Yeah.
Is about that far away from the TC, and the TC when it came around was like right there, which would make the mag line straight up.
So it is that cover is a giant pointer.
I guess so.
Well,
that's because I could see no other evidence on it anywhere.
This kind of reminds me of your favorite movie, The Mad Mad World. They're all digging all over that park, and the big W's right above them.
The big pointer?
Yeah. Yeah, and that would make sense, really.
Because that TC mark's about right there. And then your mag mark would be straight up.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think we're okay with the mag. It sparks, it's timed. So what are we doing now? We're going to farmer that grinder, finish that, and see if we can turn it fast enough to start it, I guess. We could get into the carburetor, but let's try this first before we jump to that conclusion. I don't mean farmer as a derogatory term. It's more of a make do with what you got term. I've got that pulley off of there, and it's got a set screw in it. It actually fits perfect on there, but I don't want to damage those threads with that set screw, so we're going to have to get creative here. I put the old crazy brain to work, and what we're going to do is just weld a nut off of an old grinder wheel onto the back of this pulley that we could just screw it right onto the grinder. Okay, I squared those up on the belt sander, and the idea, we're looking for a bolt that's the exact diameter as that shank, and then I can tack weld that on there, and we will have a farmer pulley puller. So this is perfect. This is a 5/8 hole, a 5/8 bolt, 5/8 threads, 5/8 shank, and we can just screw it on there nice and tight. It'll keep it straight, it'll keep it centered, and then I'll tack weld it. That bolt will hold it together. I'll go ahead and weld it. Okay, let's find a V-belt. Found a V-belt. Actually, it's the old V-belt that was on that electric motor that they had welded to the fender on that tractor. So we're gonna give this a try. It turns clockwise as you're sitting in the tractor seat. If I stand on this side, the grinder's going the right way. I've got my adapter on there. And this is, actually, we saw a few people at the show do this with theirs. They actually brought a generator, and this is how they started it. I don't really like this. I'd like to get it to where we could pull it. This has got bad news written all over it, I'm just gonna say.
Your mag on?
Yeah.
You got little throttle?
Yeah.
It ain't popping at all.
I ain't choked. You got the gas on?
Yeah. It ain't even popping.
No. We're going to check the spark when it's turning quick and see what we got. Hold it against your tongue.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I got spark.
That settles it. I'll rebuild the carburetor. I'm going to heed some Squatch advice here, which is to take the fuel bowl off the carburetor so you can get to those bolts underneath. He said it took him a while to figure it out, and even though he told us that, you know, we don't listen. It took us a while to figure it out, too. If you guys want to watch me rebuild a carburetor, I've got one in one of the older videos. This is a Zenith TU4C. And I'm going to rebuild this off camera, and then by the next clip, I'm probably putting it back on here. Obviously, yesterday we took the carburetor off, but we also had the carburetor off of the RD4 4G6667, the non-rebuildable tractor that's outside. So while I was rebuilding carburetors, I put both of them in my sonic cleaner, cleaned out all the ports, and rebuilt both of them. I'll throw this one up on the shelf for the future so we can swap one out if we need one in a hurry, and we can put this one back on Whiskers. I will note it was remarkably clean inside of this carburetor, which is why at first I wasn't concerned with rebuilding it. But when we were cleaning out the tiny, tiny little ports inside of here where you have to take that little lead plug out of there and re-plug it, there was quite a bit of junk in there. So it is possible that that was our issue. Part of our plan moving forward with whenever we get an extra carburetor or an extra magneto, which is pretty hard to come by, even with all the parts machines that we have here, we'd like to rebuild them and have a little bit of stock on the shelf so when we run into one of these situations, we can just swap out the component. Enough yapping. Let's get this carburetor on Whiskers. All the adjustments on the carburetor are set to all the way into the seat and then one full turn out. That's the starting point, and that worked great on Lefty. That's the one thing on that thing that's sort of working okay. Ideally, the best way to do this is to remove the fuel bowl and put it on. I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and do it the hard way. I just don't want to bend that jet that goes through the middle because those things are like 40 bucks each and they're not easy to find. The top of Caterpillar pony motors were designed with utmost efficiency and ease of maintenance.
No space wasted. Here we go.
Nothing. Wah, 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 wah.
All right, all right. All right, here we go. Okay, there's gas in there now.
Well, I did squirt some, so.
Yeah, there's gas in there. Choke it.
Choke. You ready?
Yeah. Not a pop.
Let's do something. This is dumb, but it'll take me 2 seconds to do it. Let me switch the wires on the magneto. Maybe we got them backwards. What do we got to lose?
Well,
it's sparking. We rebuilt the carb. It's got fuel. That's definitely not doing anything. I don't know, we just spun it again. Nothing's popping. Like, the cylinders are not getting gas in them. Last time it was flooding it. I can't help but think that our timing is off with that magneto. This is our original Eisman magneto off of Lefty that we went through. I don't think we had it timed right, but we don't have any spark with it. Might need a coil. I got this. I don't know what it's off of. It's a White Go. Dad's got an American Bosch. That one came off of Festus, and we're just up here kind of seeing if we can make them spark by turning them by hand. Sparking.
that's the other one. Now that was weak there.
Well, that's 4. 4.
There
it's sparked. It's sparking.
Yeah.
So we should be able to turn it over on the bench and see a spark. We've been avoiding having to do this the whole time. We were hoping we could rebuild the carburetor, was an easier step. But I'm afraid we're going to have to take the magneto off of here and check the timing and check the spark on it. And the reason we've been so hesitant to do this is because there's really no easy way to see your mark, whether you're lined up with for your timing, as opposed to over here on Lefty. See, there's a little hole. You can see the gears in there. The RD4 does not have that. So we've got a little chalk mark right there where it comes up. We're trying to get this pony motor up on compression, top dead center, straight up before we pull this magneto off. Yes, we've decided to pull the magneto off because we don't know what else to do, honestly. And I'm not entirely sure that maybe when we go to start it, yeah, we got spark, but maybe it's not hot enough when we go to pull start it, because the previous owner told us he had to really put that grinder on there and run it hard to get it to spark. So I think there's something up in there.
That #1 cylinder is up on compression. I've got my mark on the flywheel here, the mag mark. We don't move the pony motor. We should be able to take that off. and don't move it so we know where our marks are.
Okay, let's do it.
Remove it.
Hey, maybe we should engage the pinions so we don't move the pony motor.
Yeah. See that white mark?
Yep. You got it. Yep.
I see it. I see the M.
So that's magneto pulse.
It's off from
it's there now. Now
right,
the M is
right straight up.
Right there.
Right.
That would correspond with that white mark they got on the gear. And this has got a gasket on it. And let's put it up here in the vise and see, we could spin it around if it'll spark. Oh yeah, it's sparking. This is the other cylinder.
Which would be number 2.
It's sparking, but look how weak that is.
It is weak, isn't it? It was.
Are you grounded good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty weak. We're gonna check the gap on the points, see where it's at. I don't know anything about these American Bosch magnetos.
I think I remember the Eismans are like at 16. Yeah, there's 17, perfect fit at 17.
So here's the other cylinder again, the first one.
Should be a good ground there. It's sparking, but
it's pretty weak. That was a good one, but it's still weak. And it's intermittent. That's why they had to spin it so fast, because it's not sparking on every impulse. Look. We just called Rudy with Rebuilt Mags, and I've been looking at parts and the cost of parts and doing this ourselves, and we could probably do it, but I think we might ship these up to Rebuilt Mags, have them rebuilt, maybe 2 of these American Bosch magnetos, and I think we might send this third one up with it. I'm not sure. It's a different drive, but I think internally the components are the same. The fact that they had to spin that pony motor that fast to get that to start, even if it was low on compression, sends some red flags up. We're going to think about this, but I suspect we're going to end up sending in those 3 magnetos, 2 to get rebuilt and 1 for parts. And we'll keep the second one for when we do Carl over in the other shop. I also found one other magneto. We found the one off of Redemption 4G6667, the other RD4 that is not rebuildable. It was hanging out in our part washer, but it was one, somebody had already opened it up. The front was off. It was full of mud, grease, dirt, and I'm absolutely positively sure it is not working correctly. So we're not even going to bother to test it. We've been at this 2+ days, and I still don't have a full video, and this is very frustrating. I like to get 1 full video a week, and when I don't get 1 full video a week, I stress over it, and that's where we're at right now. Stress. Edge gap was a little too tight?
No, I'm resetting the points.
And they were a little too tight.
Yeah, they were about 16, 17, and they're supposed to be 20.
Ah. The goal here is, if we get that Eisman magneto working properly, and we can get it timed to this pony motor, then we'll put that on here and see if we can get it started. We sent the original American Bosch, I guess it's not original to an RD4, but the Caterpillar, American Bosch made for Caterpillar magneto off of Whiskers here, up to Rebuilt Mags, along with one that we have off of a 5T outside. So we will have 2 rebuilt American Bosch mags that we can have for the future. If this Eisman works on here, that would be the original style of mag that would have been on this RD4. I think we'll get our magneto magnet charger over here and zap that magnet again. The way I had it sitting on the bench, it might have discharged because it sat for quite a while. You got those set?
Yeah, this might be part of the problem. I just touched that, and that wire broke. See the corrosion there? That green corrosion?
Let's put that new coil on.
Well, we have to. This one is, I just moved that wire, and it just...
We're looking at the Eisman book, and it says the magneto should be taken to an Eisman service station whenever it fails to deliver a spark. So,
we are the Eisman service station today.
Yeah, I think so. New old stock rotor, the new old stock coil. We got new points. It should spark this time.
The edge gap is maybe slightly wide, but man, it's so close. I hate to fool with it.
And now we got spark, but it's a tad weak. At least we think it's weak. We don't really know. So I've got the magneto magnet charger here. If you're interested in that, check out the video I did on it when we built it. But we're gonna zap that magnet. Got the north pole to the south pole on the charger and vice versa. So I guess let's zap it.
You ready?
Yeah, give it a good 3 or 4 seconds. It's sparking.
But it's the same. It doesn't seem any stronger. And it's inconsistent.
So Dad's laughing because this is the downfall of eBay. I got duped. This is not an Eisman magneto points for an RC2H anyway. In fact, these look like points that somebody took the Eisman ones out and threw these in there.
Out of a 350 Chevy.
Yeah, but
you got a neat box though.
The box is cool. Was it worth $20? Probably not. And while Dad's working on the magneto, I'm over here in the LAOL coffee bar making some coffee. I like this machine. You put the whole beans in here and it grinds them. So, bet you didn't know I was a barista. Boy, that thing's kind of a mess. So,
It is.
Whoever had this machine had this all torn apart, and it was filthy in there. And
The cap was off.
yeah, and you look at the rotor, how chewed up that is. I love coffee.
What do you mean we don't have stir stick?
Dad was just using that screwdriver to take apart that dirty magneto. It's hard to see, but I've got the M on those gears there. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. That tooth goes right in there and that U. Now you can see it. I've got that tooth marked on the top that's going to need to correspond with the one on the magneto.
So you had spark, huh?
I had spark, but like you said, it didn't work on lefty, so... Well, our gasket broke when we tried to put it on, but I went over in I have a box of old Caterpillar O-rings, like, well, new old stock, just tons of them. And I got this one here, and it'll fit perfectly. Beauty is, too. This is about as thick as the cork gasket was. So I just took a felt tip marker and put a mark here at the top that I can see so that I know that I didn't turn this. Here goes. Full choke, half throttle. Ready?
Yeah. Not a problem.
Dad and I didn't sleep well last night. We're kind of wondering why in the heck won't Whiskers start? So we're not sure if our spark is not good enough on either one of the magnetos that we've had on there. We're going to put a screwdriver here on lefty. We know that this one sparks good. We know the carburetor works good that I rebuilt. And we're going to see what the spark looks like. And then we're going to evaluate from there. There it goes. Ooh, that was a hot one. Okay, head case. Yeah, we're going to see if you spark.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah. It spit out a bunch of needles, pine needles, but this is definitely hot. Somebody asked when we took the service meter off of Redemption, the other RD4 over here, what the hours were on it, and I can't read it. Can't see in there. No way of knowing. That was a fun field trip, and it really didn't tell us anything. We're kind of at a loss right now. Maybe it's the carburetor. I think we got spark. I rebuilt the carburetor. I didn't do anything different than I did on the carburetor for lefty. We tried it again. It's just backfiring through the carburetor.
Right there on the throttle. Turn the mag on. Turn fuel on.
I'm seeing smoke come out of here.
Are you kidding me?
I shut the camera off. I said that it's backfiring, right? If the timing's off on something, it could be 180 degrees off. I said, let me swap the magneto wires around just to see. And Dad says, it's crazy, we'll try it. I didn't have it on camera. I put the camera away. We were going to go in, but it fired up. It started running.
I couldn't keep it running. I had it going.
took the fuel bowl off this carburetor, and this is a John Deere one that I had that was new, rebuilt. I just took it apart, cleaned it up, checked the float, checked the needle valve. It's got the metering well in it. The older first version pony motor carburetor like that was on this RD4 didn't have that. The 5T style one that I put on Lefty that works so well had that. I don't think it's going to make any difference, but you know what? We're just throwing the parts cannon at this thing today.
What's the matter, Aaron? Did the magneto bite you? Don't worry, Aaron. You aren't the first fellows to be burned by the mystery of the magnet. We'll sort this out in a jiffy. We'll send this to someone that knows what they're doing with magnetos. Simply box it up first. Careful, Aaron. That magneto needs to make it there in one piece. Now that it's in the mail, all you have to do is wait patiently. I heard something outside. It sounds like your magnetos have arrived. Simply open the box and install your freshly serviced magneto. When it comes to magnetos, don't get bit. Know when to quit. I see you fellas are just determined to learn everything the hard way.
Last night, at the very end of the day, the magnetos arrived from Rebuilt Mags up in Minnesota. We asked them not to shine them up and make them look too pretty, not to waste time on that, just to get them operational and working correctly and serviced. So we sent 3 mags up. We sold one to them, but they used parts from it. One of the parts they used was this cap for this one, and that is off Festus, the 5T outside. We're probably going to put this magneto on Carl when we do Carl. And then we have the one off of 4G238 Dad's RD4, and it turns out the coil in here was pretty much shot. It didn't have any spark, but they did say the magnet in this one is super, super strong. So we should be good and set to go. So let's get this installed on the RD4. I should note that a gasket actually came with both of these rebuilt magnetos. Let's get this old Eisman off of here and see if that new one's going to do the trick. Out with the old. This is shockingly hard to do on an RD4 without that port in the back of the pony motor intake where you can see it. See what I did there? Shocking. In with the new rebuild. We're going to go ahead and try and start the pony motor. We got everything on there. We don't have everything buttoned up, but we want to see if it'll even pop. See if we can note a distinguishable difference here. Oh yeah, that's a lot hotter of a spark.
Is it?
A lot, yes. It jumped a good 1/4 inch.
Oh, good.
Backfiring through the carburetor. I'll reverse the spark plug wires. Maybe they're backwards on this one. I don't know. We should have had the crankcase breather on here. It's blowing oil all over the place, so we're gonna... Cleaner's gonna clean. Well, that's good.
Yes, I'm very happy.
We got a minor adjustment to do on the governor, and other than that, I think seems to be okay. My carburetor's fine. Dad's been blaming my carburetor the whole time.
Let's just say not blaming, I've been skeptical.
Dad's. We're going to drag Whiskers out with the skid steer and start it outside so we don't smoke up our shop in here.
What the devil? Oh, stoop.
You didn't have your magneto on. I've never done that, ever. There it is. Whiskers pony motor purrs like a kitten. I do want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. We got it running.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It is very.
That's awesome.
Miss Jolene came to see, to make sure that we haven't broke anything, gotten hurt, or killed each other.
Yeah.
And everything's okay.
Yeah.
I must report. Yeah. You came at a good time. We're happy now
That's
because
good.
it started.
Yeah. That's awesome.